Imagine this: a Navy SEAL trained in modern warfare, equipped with discipline, endurance, and cutting-edge tactics, stares across a clearing at a man from 50,000 years ago. A prehistoric hunter, barefoot, scarred, armed with nothing but wood, stone, and raw instinct. Who wins? Modern elite soldier or ancient human built for survival? The answer may surprise you. Raw physical power. Prehistoric humans lived in a world without comfort. No gyms, no protein shakes, no training programs. Yet every single day was a workout for survival. They walked up to 10 miles a day, carrying heavy carcasses on their backs, climbing, sprinting, throwing, wrestling with prey. Their bones were thicker, their muscles denser. A Neanderthal, for example, had forearms and grip strength far beyond anything modern soldiers possess. A Navy SEAL is peak human fitness in our age. Strong, lean, conditioned. But prehistoric humans didn't train for aesthetics. They trained by living. Their bodies weren't specialized. They were forged for total survival. In sheer raw power, the caveman takes the edge. Endurance and pain tolerance. But strength isn't everything. What about endurance? Navy SEALs endure Hell Week. 5.5 days of sleep deprivation, freezing water, relentless drills. They're pushed to the brink of collapse, then forced to go further. Their mental toughness is legendary. Prehistoric humans, though, lived Hell Week every week. Imagine tracking an antelope for 8 hours under the burning sun. No shoes, no water bottle. Imagine surviving winter nights in caves, half-starved, pushing through frostbite just to hunt again tomorrow. Their pain tolerance was not trained in boot camp. It was inherited, ritualized, normalized from birth. Children grew up scarred, scraped, bruised, yet kept moving. In endurance, this one's closer. The SEAL has structured discipline, but the caveman's entire biology was tuned for long hunts and brutal hardship. Mental edge. Now let's talk about the mind. A Navy SEAL doesn't just fight with muscles. He fights with training, tactics, teamwork, and years of psychological conditioning. They're experts in navigation, stealth, explosives, and weaponry. Prehistoric humans had no GPS, no rifles, no medics. But they had razor-sharp instincts. They read the wind, the smell of animals, the snap of a twig in the forest. They created mental maps of landscapes stretching for miles, passed down orally through generations, and their intelligence was practical. While SEALs rely on advanced gear, a prehistoric hunter could start fire from nothing, build shelter in minutes, and craft deadly weapons out of stone. Different kinds of intelligence, one born from technology, the other born from raw survival, head to head. The showdown. So let's imagine the fight, one-on-one. The Navy SEAL has modern combat skills, grappling, striking, battlefield awareness. Against another modern soldier, he'd dominate, but against a prehistoric human? He faces someone with bone density like steel, thicker skulls, explosive muscle power, and no fear of pain. A caveman could snap a spear through ribs, wrestle larger prey to the ground, and hurl stones with lethal force. Without modern weapons, a SEAL would struggle. The caveman's sheer durability and primal aggression might overwhelm. But if the SEAL has gear, knives, firearms, night vision, then it's no contest. Technology is the great equalizer. A bullet pierces when no muscle can block. So the real question isn't who's stronger, but what kind of strength matters. The deeper truth. Here's the twist. In their own environments, each is the strongest. In the wild, stripped of gear, a Navy SEAL would look fragile next to a prehistoric hunter. On the modern battlefield, a caveman would be outmatched by tactics and tech. Strength isn't absolute. It's relative to the world you're built for. And maybe that's the lesson. Prehistoric humans survived because their strength was natural, raw, and holistic. Navy SEALs survive because their strength is trained, specialized, and technological. Both are peak humans, just forged by different fires. Conclusion: so who's actually stronger? If you're talking about raw power, bone, and muscle, the caveman wins. If you're talking about tactical skill, teamwork, and advanced weaponry, the SEAL dominates. But in truth, they're two sides of the same human story. One shows us where we came from. The other shows us how far we've pushed ourselves. And the real question is this: if you stripped away all our comforts and technology, how many of us today could survive the way they did? If this made you rethink human strength, subscribe for more. Because the real test of power isn't just in gyms or battlefields. It's in the primal psychology that shaped us all.